Maya was deep in the TikTok scroll, lost in the endless stream of short-form videos that made up her digital world. Her thumb moved almost subconsciously, swiping up, up, up. It was a Tuesday evening. Homework was mostly done, and the comforting glow of her phone screen was her only companion. She'd seen everything today. Dance challenges, cooking hacks, cat videos, people trying to explain quantum physics in 15 seconds. Nothing was particularly sticking, just a pleasant low-level buzz of content. Then it happened. A video popped up that was different. It wasn't a meme or a quick skit. It looked like an old clip, grady but surprise-like. He had dark hair styled in a way that looked both classic and strangely modern. He wore a suit, but it wasn't just any suit. It shimmered, catching the light. His eyes, even to the decades-old footage, held a magnetism that pulled you in. The music started a driving rhythmic sound. Unlike anything Maya usually listened to, it had a raw energy, a beat that made your foot tap without you even realizing it. And then the man started to sing. His voice was deep, smooth as velvet, but with an edge of something wild and exciting. He moved slowly at first, then with a sudden fluid swing of his hips that made the audience in the clip, and Maya herself, gasp. Maya froze her thumb, usually so quick to swipe, hesitated. This wasn't just a random old guy, this was captivating. He wasn't just singing, he was performing. Every gesture, every tilt of his head, every smirk was deliberate and oozed charisma. He had this way of looking into the camera, even through the static of time, that felt like he was looking right at her. "Whoa," she whispered to her empty room. Comments were already flying by, a chaotic mix of ebos and questions. "OMG, who is this? He's serving looks. This can't be real. He's literally electric." The caption on the video was simple: "The King. No name, no year. Just the King." Maya watched the short clip 3, maybe 4 times. She studied his movements, the way his lips formed the words, the sheer confidence radiating from him. He moved like a dancer, but with an untamed, almost animalistic grace. It was mesmerizing. Her finger finally moved, not to swipe up, but to tap the little search icon, "The King TikTok." She typed, then deleted it. That wouldn't work, old singer king. She tried, still too vague. Then she remembered a comment. She'd heard the name before, of course. The way he connected with the audience, there was so much joy in their faces, so much adoration. It wasn't just about the music, it was about the experience. Maya scrolled through a few more, feeling a strange pull she couldn't quite explain. It was like finding a hidden track on an album, or discovering a new genre you didn't know existed but instantly loved. She sent a quick text to her best friend. "Leo, Maya, dude, you gotta see this." Maya, searching Elvis Presley on TikTok RN. Trust me, she didn't wait for a reply. She was already lost in the Elvis rabbit hole, one click leading to another, each video pulling her deeper into the world of this enigmatic king. She felt a strange sense of excitement, building like she was on the cusp of something big, something universally cool. And it all started with one random perfect video from the algorithm. Leo's reply finally buzzed in a good 20 minutes after. "Leo, Elvis Presley. Isn't that like old people music?" Maya rolled her eyes, but a small smile played on her lips. That was Leo. Always the skeptic, always needing proof. "Just watch it," she muttered to herself, as if he could hear her. She had moved beyond just watching random clips now. She was actively seeking out specific performances, guided by the excited comments of other newfound fans. Ed Sullivan Show, Aloha from Hawaii concert. These were the legendary ones, the ones people kept talking about. She found the Ed Sullivan performance first. The black and white footage made it feel even more historic, like peering through a window to a different time. The hosts introduced him with a mixture of awe and slight trepidation. And then he was there, dressed in a sharp suit, looking impossibly young and handsome. The song started a fast-paced, electrifying tune. Maya had seen him move before, but this was different. He held the microphone, like it was an extension of his soul. His legs started to twitch subtly at first, then more pronounced, and then came the move, the hip swivel. It was just a few seconds, a simple rhythmic shift of his weight, but the effect was immediate and explosive. The girls in the audience screamed. The camera famously cut to his upper body, but Maya had seen enough of the other clips to know what was happening below the waist. It was pure, unadulterated energy. A rebellion, wrapped in a suit. Holy cow, Maya breathed, leaning closer to her screen. It was freedom. It was scandalous daring, and absolutely mesmerizing. She could feel the ripple effect of that moment, even 70 years later. It wasn't just about the movement. It was the audacity of it. Then she found the Aloha from Hawaii concert footage. This was in color, years later. He was older, yes, but no less Madaga. He wore a white jumpsuit embroidered with an eagle that looked like something out of a superhero movie. The stage was massive, the audience enormous, and the energy was palpable even through the screen. When he sang Suspicious Minds, Maya felt goosebumps. His voice had matured, gained a deeper richness, but the power was still there, the vulnerability too, and the moves. He was a whirlwind, spinning, kicking, throwing the microphone stand all, while hitting every note perfectly. He wasn't just singing, he was feeling every word, every beat. He's not just a singer, Maya murmured, her eyes wide. He's a phenomenon. She started to understand why people called him the King. It wasn't just a nickname. It was a title he'd earned with every performance, every hip swivel, every note. Commanded the stage, commanded attention, commanded an entire generation. A thought sparked in her mind. This wasn't something to just watch, it was something to share. She quickly opened TikTok's camera. Okay, so I just went down the craziest rabbit hole. She began holding her phone up. She had the Aloha from Hawaii concert playing on her laptop in the background. A snippet of Suspicious Minds, providing the soundtrack. You guys, she said, her voice filled with genuine awe. I'm talking about Elvis Presley, and seriously, if you haven't seen his performances, you are missing out. She turned the camera to the laptop screen for a moment, showing the iconic white jumpsuit and the packed stadium. Then she turned it back to herself. I mean, the charisma, the voice, the swivel. She tried to mimic the hip movement, giggling at her own clumsy attempt compared to his effortless cool. He was literally a rock star before rock stars were even a thing. He invented it. She ended the video with an earnest plea. Seriously. Go look him up. You won't regret it. It's like discovering a whole new level of cool. Pound Elvis Presley, pound a king, pound new generation, discover Elvis, pound mind blown. She uploaded the video, her heart doing a little happy flutter. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. It was her honest reaction, and she hoped maybe, just maybe, it would convince a few other people to take the plunge into the Elvis universe. She had no idea how quickly that ripple would turn into a tidal wave. Maya woke up the next morning feeling a little hazy from her late-night Elvis. Deep dive, she grabbed her phone from her nightstand, half expecting to see a few notifications, mostly from her friends. What she saw instead made her sit bolt upright. Her TikTok app icon glowed with a ridiculous number. Not just a few hundred, but thousands of notifications. Her video from last night, the one where she awkwardly tried to mimic the hip swivel, had somehow gone viral. Her heart pounded. She tapped the app, and her screen exploded. Like shares, duets, stitches, and comments were pouring in. OMG. You're so right. Just watched Aloha, and I'm obsessed. This man literally invented stage presence. My grandma tried to tell me about him, but I never got it until now. The charisma is insane. How is he real? Is it just me, or is he hot, like seriously hot? She scrolled through the comments, a grin spreading across her face. It wasn't just her video. It was the idea of Elvis that was exploding. People were tagging their friends, creating new videos, reacting to his performances, using his songs as original sounds for their own content. The hashtag #NewGenerationDiscovers was trending alongside #ElvisTalk and #TheKingLives. Her phone buzzed with a call. His voice was a mix of disbelief and excitement. "What do you mean?" she asked, trying to sound innocent, though she knew exactly what he meant. "My whole for you, Paige's Elvis. My sister, who only listens to K-pop, is watching his movies. You literally started a global phenomenon," Maya laughed, a genuine joyful sound. "I just told people to check him out. I mean, I knew he was cool, but this is crazy. Crazy awesome," Leo corrected. As the day progressed, Maya kept checking her feed. The Elvis wave was growing exponentially. People from all over the world were posting. Teenagers in different languages with different backgrounds were all sharing the same stunned, excited reaction. There was a girl from Japan doing a perfect recreation of his Jailhouse Rock dance, a guy from Brazil editing clips of his movie scenes to modern pop songs, a group of friends from Germany having a watch party of his Vegas concerts, their faces lit up with shared awe. Even a grandma and her granddaughter stitching a video together where the grandma showed off her old Paimon records, while the granddaughter pointed out her favorite TikTok clips. The comments sections were a fascinating echo chamber of shared surprise and delight. "Why didn't anyone tell us about this? My parents said he was a big deal, but I thought it was just boomer hype. I was wrong. He had that much stage presence in the 50s. What? It's not just the looks. It's the energy. He's magnetic. He's actually really funny in his interviews too." What struck Maya the most was the sheer unity of the reaction. It wasn't just a fleeting trend based on a funny soundbite. It was a genuine collective rediscovery of an icon, fueled by the algorithm's ability to put him directly in front of a generation that had, for the most part, only heard his name in passing. They weren't biased by the decades of marketing, the cultural shifts, or the eventual tragedies of his life. They were seeing him fresh and raw as he was in his prime. He wasn't just a legend anymore. He was a brand new discovery, stripped of all the accumulated layers of history. He was just Elvis performing, singing, smiling, winking, and captivating. Maya scrolled through her own comments, seeing a flood of new followers and messages. One caught her eye. "Chloe Dancer, hey, Maya, this is awesome. You totally inspired me." Chloe was one of the best dancers in their school, known for her incredible TikTok choreography. If Chloe was on board, this wasn't just a trend anymore, this was a cultural moment. The king was officially back. Baby and Gen Z was ready to crown him. The Elvis takeover of TikTok was in full swing. Maya, Leo, and Chloe decided to capitalize on the momentum. "Okay," Chloe announced during their FaceTime call that evening, her usual bubbly energy amplified by the Elvis hype. "We need to do a full, deep dive beyond the concert clips. We need to watch a movie, a whole movie. From start to finish." Leo, now a full convert, nodded enthusiastically. "Yes, my sister was telling me about Jailhouse Rock. She said he dances in it. He dances in all of them, basically," Maya clarified, already feeling like a seasoned expert. "But Jailhouse Rock has that iconic number. Or we could go for Blue Hawaii for maximum vacation mods and songs." They settled on Jailhouse Rock, mostly because the black and white footage of the dance sequence had already made its rounds on TikTok, impressing everyone with its sharp choreography and Elvis's incredible athleticism. They set up a watch party on Discord, each with their own snacks and drinks. As the opening credits rolled, a sense of anticipation filled the virtual room. This wasn't just about a movie. It was about understanding the cultural phenomenon, the full scope of his artistry. The plot was interesting. Elvis played a rough-and-tumble character who ends up in jail, learns to sing, and then becomes a star. It was a simple story, but Elvis filled every scene with his unmistakable presence. He wasn't just acting lines. He was being the character, with that same underlying current of rebellion and charm that was evident in his music. "His acting is actually pretty good," Chloe admitted, surprised. "I thought he'd just be like posing." "Nah, he had a real gift for it," Maya said, remembering something she'd read online. "He wanted to be a serious actor too, not just a singing star." Then came the legendary Jailhouse Rock dance. It was filmed like a music video, with Elvis leading a group of inmates through a tightly choreographed routine. Every move was sharp, precise, and utterly captivating. His leaps, his spins, the way he commanded the space, it was pure magic. "Okay, this is unfair," Leo said, shaking his head. "He can sing, dance, act, and he's got that much swagger. Seriously, how was one human this talented?" They spent the rest of the movie pausing, rewinding, and discussing. They talked about his fashion, how his outfits were always just a little bit ahead of their time, a little bit bolder. They talked about his signature sneer, that slight curl of his lip that sent fans into hysterics. They talked about his voice, how it could be powerful and gritty one moment, then soft and tender the next. "It's weird," Chloe mused as the credits rolled. "He feels modern somehow. Like, if he came out today, he'd still be huge. He'd probably break the internet even harder." "Definitely," Maya agreed. "He had that it factor, that undefinable thing that just draws people in. It's not just talent, it's pure magnetism. But he also got a lot of hate." "Right, for his dancing, for being too provocative," Maya nodded. "Yeah, he was controversial. Adults freaked out because he was so rebellious and sexy. They thought he was a bad influence. That's wild," Chloe said. "Like now, it looks so tame compared to some stuff, but for back then it was groundbreaking." They spent another hour just chatting, dissecting Elvis's appeal. They talked about the pressure he must have been under, the constant scrutiny, the adoration that bordered on obsession. They touched on the darker parts of his story they'd glimpsed in online articles, the isolation, the later struggles. "It makes you wonder, though," Leo pondered. "If he was so massive, why isn't he talked about as much to our generation like? We know who Michael Jackson is or the Beatles. But Elvis always felt like this vague, old-timey figure." "I think maybe he just needed a new audience on a new platform," Maya suggested. "Something that cut through all the old stories and just showed us him. No filter, just pure performance." They planned their next steps, an Elvis dance challenge, maybe a lip-sync battle to one of his more upbeat tracks. The virtual watch party ended, but the spark it had ignited in them was only just growing brighter. They weren't just fans of a trend. They were genuinely captivated by the king, ready to explore every corner of his court. And they knew with a certainty that thrilled them that they were far from alone. The Elvis obsession was no longer confined to Maya's phone. It had seeped into her real life, trickling into conversations with her family. One Sunday afternoon, while helping her grandmother, Nana Rose, prune her rose bushes, Maya casually brought him up. "Nana, have you ever heard of Elvis Presley?" Maya asked, trying to sound nonchalant, even though her heart was doing a little excited flutter. Nana Rose, a woman whose smile lines told stories of 1,000 sun-drenched summers, paused, holding a pair of shears. Her eyes, usually sparkling with gentle mischief, suddenly softened, distant. A slow, warm smile spread across her face. "Elvis?" she said, her voice laced with a wistful fondness. "Oh, honey, everyone heard of Elvis. He was everything." Maya's eyes widened. "Really? You were a fan?" Nana Rose chuckled. "A melodic sound. Fan, that's an understatement. Your grandpa, bless his heart, used to tease me mercilessly, said I screamed louder for Elvis than I did for him." She laughed, a genuine, hearty laugh. "I had his records, his fan magazines. My bedroom walls were plastered." With his pictures, Maya felt a thrill run through her. This was it. The real stories from someone who lived through the Elvis phenomenon. The first time around, tell me about it. Maya urged, dropping her gardening gloves and sitting on the patio steps, fully engaged. What was it like? What made him so special? Nana Rose sat down beside her, the shears resting forgotten beside her. And the way he moved, Maya prompted, remembering the Ed Sullivan footage. Nana Rose's eyes twinkled. Oh, the moves. Your grandmother might have been a proper young lady, but when Elvis started to move on that television screen, well, let's just say a lot of young ladies got a little flustered. She fanned herself dramatically, making Maya giggle. He was so daring, so rebellious. Our parents hated it, of course, said he was too vulgar, too suggestive, which, of course, only made us love him more. So, he was like the ultimate bad boy, Maya asked. He was just free, he broke all the rules. Before him, music was so polite, so proper. He came along and just exploded every. That froke. She pulled out a faded photo album. Its pages yellowed with time. She flipped to a page. See? She pointed to a black and white photo of a beaming, much younger Nana Rose standing in front of a giant movie poster for Loving You. That's me, right after I saw his first movie, went with all my girlfriends. We screamed so much the ushers almost kicked us out. Maya stared at the photo, then at her Nana, seeing the ghost of that enthusiastic young girl in her grandmother's joyful eyes. It was a bridge across generations connected by the timeless appeal of one man. It's so weird, Maya mused, holding one of the old records gently. He's doing the same thing to my generation on TikTok. We're all freaking out just like you guys did. Nana Rose smiled, a deep, understanding smile. That's because true greatness, true talent, it doesn't age, honey. It just waits for the next generation to discover it. He spoke to us back then, and he's speaking to you now. As the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the garden, Maya felt a profound connection, not just to her Nana, but to all the fans who had come before her. She understood now that this wasn't just a TikTok trend. It was a continuation of a legacy, a timeless phenomenon passed down, rediscovered, and reloved. And it made her love Elvis even more. The intergenerational conversation with Nana Rose had solidified something for Maya. Elvis wasn't just a fleeting internet sensation, he was a cultural force. And TikTok, in its unpredictable way, had simply opened the floodgates for a new generation to experience that force directly. The platform was now buzzing louder than ever with all things. Elvis' original sounds from his songs were dominating the charts. Can't Help Falling in Love became the backdrop for countless romantic edits and heartfelt confessions. Jailhouse Rock was the ultimate dance challenge, with users attempting to recreate his iconic choreography, often with hilarious results, but always with genuine enthusiasm. Hound Dog became the ultimate sassy comeback sound. The Elvis Tup community wasn't just growing, it was thriving. People were posting "Get Ready With Me" videos where they tried to replicate his signature hairstyles or outfits. The pompadour, the high-collared shirts, the shiny jackets. Artists were drawing incredible fans. Art blending classic Elvis imagery with modern aesthetic. Musicians were covering his songs, putting their own Gen Z spin on them, sometimes with a ukulele, sometimes with a full-blown indie rock setup. Chloe, true to her word, had launched an Elvis Dance-Off Challenge. She choreographed a short, punchy routine to "A Little Less Conversation," incorporating some of Elvis's signature moves, like the hip swivel and the muck stand gestures. But with her own contemporary flair, the challenge exploded. Soon, thousands of users were posting their versions, from professional dancers to shy teens, dancing in their bedrooms. The sheer variety was incredible, but the underlying joy and connection to the music were universal. Leo? Always, the researcher found obscure interviews with Elvis, sharing snippets where he talked about his love for gospel music, his humility, and his struggles with fame. These clips revealed a more complex, vulnerable side of the king, adding depth to the manic performer everyone saw on stage. He was actually a really sweet guy, Leo commented on one of his videos showing Elvis laughing genuinely in an old press conference. Not just a rock star, but a human. That's what makes him even cooler. The comments agreed. He seems so kind. Imagine meeting him. He deserved so much better. The Fantinkum wasn't just about adoration. It was about analysis, understanding, and even empathy. Gen Z, known for its ability to quickly dissect and understand complex issues, was approaching Elvis's legacy with fresh eyes. They weren't just captivated by his looks. They were intrigued by his story, his impact, and the pressures he faced. What truly defined this universal reaction was the shared language of discovery. Comments like, "How did I not know about this?" or "My life is changed," were everywhere. It was a collective awakening, a moment where millions of young people simultaneously realized they had been missing out on something extraordinary. Schools started to notice too. Maya's history teacher, Ms. Jenkins, known for incorporating current events into her lessons, showed a segment of the Ed Sullivan performance in class. For those of you who have just discovered Elvis on TikTok, Ms. Jenkins, a knowing smile on her face. This is how he first truly exploded onto the national scene. This performance caused a moral panic. Can anyone tell me why? Hands shot up, including Maya's. Kids who usually slouched in their chairs were sitting upright in gait. It wasn't just history anymore. It was their history, freshly discovered. They discussed the societal norms of the 1950s, the rebellion of rock and roll, the racial barriers Elvis helped consciously or unconsciously to break down. He bridged gaps. One student offered, "He brought different kinds of music together, and different people too. He made it okay to be different," another added. Classroom felt alive with a new kind of energy, a shared enthusiasm that transcended the usual boundaries of age and subject. King had not only conquered TikTok, he was now conquering classrooms, igniting conversations, and sparking a curiosity that went far beyond a simple algorithmically suggested video. The fury of Fantomum was a beautiful, powerful thing, and it was just getting started. As the initial rush of discovery settled, the Gen Z Elvis fans began to move beyond the superficial glamour. They still loved the charisma, the jaw-dropping looks, and the iconic stage presence. But a deeper appreciation for Elvis the artist started to emerge. Maya, Leo, and Chloe, now unofficial ambassadors of the Elvis movement, decided to curate a playlist of songs that showcased his incredible vocal range and versatility. "Okay, so everyone knows Hound Dog and Jailhouse Rock," Maya explained in a clamor of TikTok. They made her voice earnest. "But have you really listened to his ballads or his gospel stuff? It's next level." They started with "Can't Help Falling in Love." Not just the sweet romantic version, but live performances where his voice soared with such tenderness and control, it brought tears to people's eyes. "Listen to the phrasing," Leo chimed in, pointing to a specific part of a live clip. "He put so much emotion into every word. It's like he's singing directly to your soul." Then they moved to his gospel music. Many new fans were surprised to learn that Elvis, despite his rock and roll image, had a deep love for gospel and recorded several albums of spiritual songs, even winning Grammy Awards for them. "Swing Down, Sweet Chariot" or "Peace in the Valley" revealed a different side of his voice, raw, powerful, and steeped in emotion. It wasn't the sexy rock star, it was a man connecting with his faith, sharing a profound spiritual experience. "This is insane," Chloe whispered during a watch party of one of his gospel performances. "His voice is just perfect. It's so pure." "He literally brought gospel to a mainstream audience," Maya added, feeling a swell of admiration. "He didn't just sing rock, he sang everything. And he made it all sound like him." They explored his country roots, his blues influences, the way he blended different genres to create his unique sound. They discussed how he took songs from black artists like Hound Dog, originally sung by Big Mama Thornton, and brought them to a wider, predominantly white audience. sparking both admiration and controversy. While acknowledging the complexities of cultural appropriation, Gen Z fans often highlighted his immense respect for the original artists and his efforts to promote them. He exposed so many people to different sounds they never would have heard otherwise. The discussions in the comment sections became more nuanced. People weren't just talking about his looks. They were analyzing his vocal technique, his stage presence, his influence on other artists. They were discovering that Elvis wasn't just a performer. He was an innovator, a trendsetter, a musical chameleon. They watched old interviews where he talked about his influences: Dean Martin, Roy Hamilton, Mahalia Jackson. They saw his genuine humility, his passion for music, and his occasional shyness off stage. This humanized him, moving him beyond the myth into something more relatable, more profound. The universal reaction wasn't just about the shock of discovering an attractive medoc performer from the past. It evolved into a universal recognition of exceptional talent, a timeless voice, and an undeniable artistry that transcended genres and generations. "It's like he could sing the phone book and make it sound amazing," Chloe declared one afternoon, scrolling through more Elvis content. "More like he could sing the phone book and make you believe in the phone book?" Leo corrected a thoughtful look on his face. He had that power. And Maya, looking at the sheer volume of content, the endless discussions, the deep dives into his discography, knew they were right. King wasn't just back on TikTok. He was being reevaluated, reappreciated, and cemented as a true, multifaceted artist for a whole new era. With their newfound deeper appreciation for Elvis, the artist, the Gen Z fans started to crave a more tangible connection to his legacy. The ultimate pilgrimage, they realized, was Graceland. "We have to go to Graceland," Chloe declared one evening during a group chat, her voice filled with a mixture of awe and determination. "Like, seriously, we need to walk where he walked, see his house, everything." Leo, ever the practical one, pulled up tickets and hotel prices. "It's in Memphis, Tennessee. Not exactly a quick trip from here." "But imagine," Maya countered, her eyes sparkling, "seeing the meditation garden where he's buried, his gold records, his jumpsuits. It would be like stepping into history." Their collective fascination sparked a new wave of content on TikTok. Graceland dreaming. Users shared videos of virtual tours, old family photos from their own visits, and elaborate plans for future trips. The Graceland official TikTok account, usually sharing archival footage, suddenly saw an explosion of new followers and engagement from a younger demographic. They watched documentaries about his life from his humble beginnings in Tupelo, Mississippi, to his meteoric rise to global superstardom, and ultimately to his tragic early death. They learned about his deep connection to his mother, Gladys, his military service, his generosity, and the close circle of friends and family, known as the Memphis Mafia. Learning about his life story added a layer of complexity to the iconic image. They understood the immense pressure he was under, the isolation that came with being the most famous person in the world, and the struggles he faced with his health and personal life. "It's actually really sad, though," Chloe said after watching a documentary about his later years. "He just seems so lonely, even with all those people around him." Being that famous must have been incredibly hard," Leo agreed, his brow furrowed. "Everyone wanted a piece of him. He was literally trapped by his own success." Maya felt a pang of sadness. The vibrant, energetic performer they'd fallen in love with on TikTok had a much more complicated reality. "He gave so much of himself to his fans," she mused, "but it seems like he lost himself in the process." This realization didn't diminish their admiration. It deepened it. It made him more human, more relatable. They recognized the struggles of mental health and the pressures of public life, issues that resonated strongly with their own generation. They started to see comments like, "Protect your peace," king, or he deserved better pop up on older clips, a testament to drowning of his personal journey. They weren't just idolizing him. They were connecting with his humanity. The dream of Graceland became more than just a wish. It became a symbol of their collective journey of discovery. It represented the tangible link to a legend, a place where they could truly understand the scale of his impact and the reality of his life. While a trip to Memphis wasn't immediately feasible for Maya and her friends, they found other ways to connect. They started a Google Maps tour of Graceland, zooming in on different rooms, imagining him there. They listened to audio tours, trying to soak in every detail. One day, Maya vowed, looking at a picture of the famous gates of Graceland on her phone, "One day, we're going there, all of us." And as the sun set, painting the sky with hues of orange and purple, Maya knew that the journey of discovering Elvis was far from over. It was a constantly evolving exploration, moving from the initial spark of charisma to a profound understanding of his art, his life, and his enduring legacy. The King's Court was growing, and its members were ready to carry his story forward. The initial TikTok craze around Elvis had evolved into something more profound. Gen Z wasn't just rediscovering Elvis. They were actively rewriting his narrative, stripping away outdated perceptions, and focusing on what truly mattered to them. For decades, Elvis's image had been shaped by caricatures, the sequined jumpsuits, the later struggles with health, the Vegas Elvis. While his fans from previous generations still cherished him for many, he had become a bit of a historical footnote, a symbol of a bygone era. Gen Z, with their fresh eyes and digital tools, changed that they zoomed in on the performance. The way he commanded a stage, whether it was a small club or a massive arena, they highlighted his incredible stage presence, his effortless connection with the audience, and his boundless energy. They saw his cringe moments, like some of his movie plots or overly dramatic gestures, as part of his charm, an endearing authenticity rather than a flaw. "He's like the original influencer," Chloe mused during one of their many Elvis analysis sessions. "He wasn't just singing songs, he was selling a whole vibe, his style, his hair, his moves. It was all part of the brand." Leal pointed out how Elvis was a fashion icon. People think of the jumpsuits, but look at his 50s suits. He was dressing like a rock star before rock star was even a concept. He took risks. And Maya, remembering her Nana's stories, highlighted his kindness. He was so generous. He bought houses for people. He gave away cars. Everyone said he was really humble and polite, even when he was the biggest star in the world. They contrasted this with the demanding, often entitled behavior of some modern celebrities, making Elvis seem even more appealing. TikTok algorithm, sensitive to user engagement, continued to feed them content that reinforced this new positive narrative. Files emerged, comparing Elvis's stage presence to modern performers, showing how his influence still resonated in contemporary music and dance. His iconic snarling lip became a trending filter used by thousands of users. What made this generational rewriting so powerful was its global grassroots nature. It wasn't dictated by marketing campaigns or documentaries. It was driven by millions of individual discoveries and shared reactions. Gen Z wasn't just consuming Elvis. They were actively curating his legacy for their own time. They recognized his role as a cultural revolutionary, albeit one whose impact on racial integration in music was complex. They acknowledged the criticisms, while also celebrating his genuine love for all forms of music, especially gospel and blues, which he often credited as his inspiration. They saw him not as a perfect figure, but as a flawed human who achieved extraordinary things and broke down barriers both musically and socially. Comments under countless Elvis videos reflected this shift. He walked so literally every other male pop star could run. Beyond looks, his voice is just chef's kiss. He was so misunderstood, but he was literally pure talent. Thank you, TikTok, for making me an Elvis stan. I'm telling everyone. The narrative became one of rediscovery, respect, and profound admiration. He wasn't just old music anymore. He was timeless. He wasn't just a legend. He was a relatable icon. He wasn't just an entertainer. He was an artist whose emotional depth and groundbreaking performances spoke directly to the hearts of a new generation. Maya scrolled through her feed, seeing a new video of a young artist painting a vibrant modern portrait of Elvis. His eyes filled with that unmistakable charisma. This wasn't the Elvis of old magazines or dusty biographies. This was General Z's Elvis reimagined, reloved, and forever etched into the digital fabric of their world. King's narrative was being rewritten, and it was a powerful, beautiful thing to witness. The Elvis phenomenon on TikTok didn't just fade away. Like so many other trends, it settled into a sustained, genuine appreciation. What started as a viral moment blossomed into a lasting cultural resurgence, cementing Elvis Presley's place in the hearts of a generation that wasn't even alive when he walked the earth. The numbers spoke for themselves. Streaming figures, his classic albums, once primarily spun by vinyl collectors or older generations, found new life on Spotify and Apple Music, landing on popular playlists and becoming the soundtrack for study sessions. His movies, once relegated to classic film channels, saw a surge in demand on streaming platforms, with younger viewers discovering his comedic timing and charming screen presence. Merchandise, featuring Elvis, once aimed at nostalgic fans, suddenly appealed to a new trend-conscious demographic. Vintage-style T-shirts with his iconic poses, enamel pins featuring his TCB, taking care of business, lightning bolt logo, and even modern interpretations of his famous jumpsuits started appearing in online stores. Graceland, the ultimate pilgrimage for Elvis fans, reported a significant increase in younger visitors. Tour guides noted the change, seeing more teens and young adults arriving with a fresh, TikTok-fueled enthusiasm, asking specific questions about his early career or the stories behind viral clips. The King's home felt alive with a new generation's energy. The most significant impact was on the creative landscape. Inspired by his unparalleled showmanship, young musicians started incorporating elements of his style into their own performances. Dancers found new inspiration in his fluid, magnetic movements. Fashion designers subtly, or not so subtly, referenced his bold aesthetic. Maya, Leo, and Chloe continue to be active in the Elvis community, their initial discovery having turned them into passionate advocates. They organized online watch parties, debated his best songs, and even started the small local Elvis Appreciation Club at their school, attracting students from various cliques who were united by their shared love for the King. "It's weird," Maya mused one afternoon, looking at a framed photo of Elvis she'd printed and put on her desk, a gift from Nana Rose. "He died before any of us were born, but it feels like he's here, like he's part of our lives now." "That's the thing about timeless art," Leo said thoughtfully. "It finds its way to new audiences. It just took TikTok to be the matchmaker this time." Chloe added, "And it's not just about his music. It's about charisma, about breaking boundaries, about being authentic. Those things will always be relevant, no matter the decade." The universal reaction wasn't just a fleeting moment of collective awe. It was a testament to the enduring power of raw talent, undeniable charm, and a spirit of innovation that transcends time. Elvis Presley's legacy, once thought by some to be fading into history, had been revitalized, reimagined, and reclaimed by a new generation. The King wasn't just a legend anymore. He was a living, breathing influence, continually inspiring, entertaining, and captivating. He hadn't just been discovered, he had been understood. And as long as there were new eyes to see, new ears to hear, and new platforms to share, Elvis Presley would truly live on forever. The King